Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that almost all of the world's tallest buildings have opened during a recession? I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you what that means for 2026 and what we can be forecasting and projecting. This is the economic clock. It's not perfect. Every recession is different, but every economic cycle rhymes. There's a lot of things that we can learn by studying history to understand what's happening right now, what's going to happen next, and the speed with which it is going to take place. If we look at 12 o'clock, the very, very top of the economic clock, this is the peak of the boom. You can see there that commodity prices, share prices, and real estate prices have all grown. Money's become easier to access, businesses are investing, unemployment is low. And at a certain point, the economy starts to overheat and it shifts from 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Some of that can be a monetary policy, fiscal policy, interest rates might rise. Some of it is just too much investment, speculation in things that aren't really working. So in terms of the tallest buildings and construction, it is often at the peak of a boom when the money is easiest to access, when vanity projects, huge by definition, never before seen construction projects get the funding. People are happy to take the risk, they take place. But of course, you don't build one of those buildings in a hurry. So between getting the funding and actually completing and opening the building, the economy shifts. It shifts from 12 o'clock down to 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And that's why you'll see Chrysler Building, Empire State Building in the Great Depression, World Trade Center, Sears Tower in the 1970s. You've got the Burj Khalifa through the global financial crisis, and the Petronas Towers in KL, where I was only a couple of months ago, opened during the Asian financial crisis. It's not a coincidence, it's just economic cycles. So what can we learn from that? What can we do with our business right now? Well, if we have a look at the economic clock, and you'll have noticed in some of my other Don't Waste a Good Recession videos how I overlay some numbers on the ups and downs of the economic cycle. That's the clock. That's the economic clock that I'm talking about. And so we are now shifting. We're shifting from 12 o'clock into 1 o'clock. Interest rates are starting to rise. And we're therefore shifting from the peak of the boom into what sits there and is known as a slump. It's not yet businesses going under, prices plummeting all over the space. You will notice that share prices on the economic clock fall before commodity prices, real estate prices. They're a lead indicator of the general economy. Again, something that we talk about fairly often here on this channel. So, what are the actual phases of a recession? How do we break that down so we're not just trying to tell the time? Well, there's 4 distinct phases in the economic cycle that are really relevant for managing a downturn. The 4 phases are down, drag, release, up. So in other words, when the economy turns, things move down. They can move down quickly. Sometimes they move down a little more slowly. It's hard to predict, but we want to look for those lead indicators. The most painful period of a recession is the drag. It's that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, which can drag on both in terms of time and in terms of emotion, energy. When people know that there's a downturn happening, when they contract, confidence goes, spending goes, it's hard to see how we're ever going to get out of this. And that can drag on in a number of ways. The release point is down the bottom. That's where the economy does start to pick up. It's the bottom of the cycle. That also can move quite fast, and that moves us into then the upswing, which is the period we're obviously going to enjoy the most. If I translate those into what that means for strategy in your business, instead of down, drag, release, up, we're going to talk about respond, plan, execute, and profit. Right now, we're probably 12, 1 o'clock on the economic clock, which means we're moving into the respond phase. And that quote that I use a lot, Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Well, some people have had a punch in the face, some people are waiting for it, some people see it as being inevitable. How do you respond to a punch in the face. And that's going to look different. It's one of the ways in which every recession is different because they're triggered by different activities. Whether it's a pandemic, whether it's tech stocks crashing, whether it's banks lying to each other about the value of their assets. Understanding what's going on allows you to respond much better. Once you get through the response phase, the next one is planning. And what you're planning to do there is not just managing your cash, your business in the short term. You're planning for what you're going to do when we get to the bottom, when that release point gets close, because that's the execute. That's the moment at which you need to execute your strategy. There are things you can do to profit, to gain market share during the drag cycle, particularly if you can manage your emotions, cash, and make the most of the opportunities that present themselves there. But it's that point of maximum financial opportunity, right at the bottom, where survive and thrive businesses differ. The survive businesses, remember, just follow along. They're not ready at the bottom because they don't know it's the bottom. They're waiting until 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, maybe even 9 o'clock before they really commit to hiring more staff, doing more projects, putting prices up, all of those things. If you've done the planning phase properly, then you can execute when all of those indicators line up to say, it's 6 o'clock, let's get rolling. And that means you catch all of the uplift. You profit from all of the next growth phase of the cycle. You're ahead of all of those businesses that were too scared to play along. So that's where we're at. Economic clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. We know we're heading into a slump. We know that the downturn is here, it's coming. The exact speed we still are unsure of. What's the real trigger that's going on here? We know the car's driving too fast. Is it a war? Is it commodity prices? Is it AI stocks? Is it something else entirely that is going to trigger the real drop in the broader economy? But it's coming. Drop, drag, release, up, respond, plan, execute, profit. And when you're doing that, sometimes it's going to be more fun, more profitable, more overseas holidays than others. But if you can follow the economic clock and you can adjust your business strategy accordingly, then you are going to benefit and be successful no matter what time it might be.